Mathieu van der Poel is one of the most exciting and explosive riders of his generation, with race-defining attacks spanning across Grand Tours, monuments, and even spectacular world championships. He's a rider who's amassed plenty of wins across 3 disciplines and achieved many historic achievements. He well and truly is a name for the ages, and his legend will live on for years to come. In today's video, we'll explore how this living legend got to the position where he is now in the sport. And if you're new here, why not subscribe to the Cycling Dane YouTube channel. Mathieu van der Poel, despite being Dutch, is in fact born in Antwerpen in Belgium to a family steeped in cycling heritage. His father, Adrie van der Poel, was a successful cyclist himself, with many big victories to his name, such as the Tour of Flanders and Amstel Gold, and his grandfather was none other than Raymond Poulidor, the Tour de France legend himself. As expected, Mathieu van der Poel had great success as a junior rider, with the highlight being the win in the 2013 World Championships, outpowering Nes Pietersen to win the rainbow jersey. The following year, the Dutch rider would turn pro with BKCP Power Plus, and he would be competing with the seniors, foregoing the under-23 step. He managed to win his first elite road race, the Ronde van Limburg, in a sprint at the age of only 19 years old. But if you want to know more about his neo-pro season in detail, why not check out the video in the caption. Mathieu van der Poel, as well as trying to make a road career for himself, also was carving out a tremendous cyclocross career, already winning the senior world championships at an age of 20 years old. But for the road, it would take until 2017 when he burst through once again, winning stage 2 of the Belgian Tour in an iconic sprint in front of his career rival Wout van Aert and the Belgian superstar Philippe Gilbert. The momentum continued as he went on to win his first stage race in the form of the Boucle de la Mayenne in incredible style, as Mathieu didn't finish lower than 3rd place on the 4 stages of the race, winning the final 2 stages as well. Later in that year, he also won the gravel road race, the Dwarsdorp hit Hageland, after another road duel with Wout van Aert. The 2018 season would be another stepping stone on his incredible path, as he returned to the Boucle de Mayenne stage race, and once again he won the race overall after winning on stage 1, and he won the Ronde van Limburg once again as well. But his most impressive victory was the national road race that year, where he managed to outsprint a field of seasoned sprinters to seal the victory. Mathieu van der Poel continued his year with his first senior European championships on the road, and here, after a grueling wet day in Glasgow, he managed to narrowly get beaten by Matteo Trentin, but ultimately finished 2nd on the podium ahead of Wout van Aert. But Mathieu would get his revenge on the city. The Arctic Tour of Norway was the next big challenge for the youngster, and the national champion was eager to show off the jersey, and he did so on the first stage, where he, with a very powerful sprint, managed to take the win and followed this victory up with another win on stage 4. 2019 was a special year for Mathieu van der Poel, and on the road it began with a win in the Tour of Antalya in Turkey on stage 1, before in France he dominated the cobblestone one-day race, the GP Denan, and he was 4th in Gent-Wevelgem before winning the Dwarsdorp Vlaanderen, his first World Tour one-day race, ahead of Anthony Turgis in a sprint. After that, he went to his first Tour of Flanders, and here he was very strong in the race until crashing with 60 kilometers to go, but he still managed to salvage a 4th place finish with some incredible riding, to say the least. He wasn't finished there for sure with extraordinary rides, as he was strong at the Brantes Pile, winning the final sprint in an elite group before a few days later he achieved something remarkable at the Amstel Gold race. This, of course, was his home race. Mathieu van der Poel seemed very eager in the race. He had attacked quite far out and was brought back, and it seemed like his chances of winning was over. But despite there being a strong duo of Alaphilippe and Fuglsang out in front, the Dutch rider single-handedly pulled a group of riders back into contention for the race win on the final few throws of the race, and Mathieu van der Poel with brute force thundered past Alaphilippe and Jakob Fuglsang to take a truly legendary win and the national champion for the Netherlands in his first Amstel race fell to the ground in disbelief of what he had just achieved. After that sensational win, the Dutch rider's next target was the Tour of Britain in preparation for the World Championships that would be held in Yorkshire that year. Mathieu van der Poel dominated the race, winning on stage 4 with a thunderous attack, and again on stage 7, beating Trentin to the win before the final stage into Manchester. He managed to outsprint the sprinters to win in the leader's jersey on the final day of the race. Truly remarkable. So he really did have the perfect form for the World Championships. However, the Yorkshire weather had other ideas, as unfortunately, despite Mathieu van der Poel making the race-winning move, he was unable to follow the group as he had underfueled throughout the race because of the cold and had to see his chances disappear. 2020 was a strange year, and in the reorganized season, Mathieu van der Poel had a slow start to the new calendar, with his best result being 3rd place at the Grand Piemonte and surprisingly finished 10th at Il Lombardia. He did, however, manage to win another national road race title on the top of the Col de Vam, and his first victory in the World Tour came at Strade Bianche, where he managed to overtake the break in the final few throws of the stage on the final climb on stage 7 and win the stage. His next challenge was the Bing Bang Tour, and here Mathieu van der Poel showed extraordinary power once again on the final stage after riding quite consistently to have himself in the general classification race before the stage, and he attacked with 50 kilometers to go, holding off the peloton behind him, and in the process, in doing so, did enough to seal the overall title as well. Notably, 24 hours after starting the Bing Bang Tour's final stage, he was starting Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and here he managed to impress once again, finishing 6th on this hilly monument. But the big result of the season came at the Tour of Flanders, where after a mythical battle with Wout van Aert, Mathieu van der Poel managed to win the sprint in the closing moments and take the title 34 years after his father won the same race. Truly legendary. The 2021 season, on the first day, was the UAE Tour for Mathieu van der Poel, and his team controlled the crosswinds well, and in the finale, Mathieu van der Poel managed to rip up the field, and in the final moments of the race, he managed to outsprint the sprinters to their surprise, and he took his first win of the season. However, after the stage, the team had a positive for COVID within the team, so they had to withdraw. Great shame for Mathieu. Nevertheless, the big triumph came in Strade Bianche, where Mathieu van der Poel animated the race and forged the race-winning selection, which drew out Alaphilippe and Bernal, before Mathieu van der Poel outsprinted the pair on the final kick to the line in Siena and clinched a sensational win, and again demonstrating his unrivaled power. Tirreno Adriatico was next for Mathieu van der Poel, and here he managed to win on stage 3, beating Alaphilippe and Wout van Aert in the sprint after a close second place for him on stage 2, where Alaphilippe was the victor. But the sensational moment came on stage 5, where the Dutchman attacked far out from the finish on a very cold day, with only the race leader Strade Bianche able to hunt down the Dutchman, but Mathieu van der Poel managed to hold him off just enough to win the race on the day. Before his Tour de France debut, he managed to finish 5th in Milan-San Remo, 3rd in E3, and 2nd in the Tour of Flanders after losing the final sprint to Casper Asgreen, quite surprisingly. But crucially, he also, in his preparation, managed to win 2 stages at the Tour de Suisse in emphatic fashion. Nevertheless, Mathieu van der Poel had his debut at the Tour de France in the 2021 season, despite missing out on the victory on stage 1 after having a jersey in memory of his late grandfather, Monumental. He impressed on the second stage, where he managed to show himself once again and was the strongest rider and win up the Mur de Bretagne, pointing to the sky in memory of his late grandfather, Monumental. On top of that, he also donned the coveted yellow jersey for the first time in his career, and he proudly wore that jersey for 6 days and even managed to cling on to it after a sensational time trial as well. At the reorganized 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, Van der Poel chose to take part in the mountain biking event. Unfortunately, on the first lap, he suffered a detrimental crash while descending, as he was unaware that the practice ramp had been removed. Despite this setback, he demonstrated determination by continuing the race, but eventually had to withdraw after completing the 6th lap. Regrettably, the crash caused persistent back problems for him, and he had to cancel some of his road season because of it. However, he made a triumphant return by winning the 2021 Antwerp Port Epic, using it as a preparation for the World Championships. During the World Championships that year in Flanders, he achieved an 8th place overall. Obviously, he would have wanted more out of this, but his teammate did finish 2nd, so not a bad result for the Dutch riders. And at the 2021 Paris-Roubaix, this was the mythical muddy edition of the race. Mathieu van der Poel showed himself at the front of the race and secured 3rd place after losing out in the final sprint, which again he would have wanted more. For the 2022 season, he had sustained an injury during the cyclocross season, so his first race on his calendar was Milan-San Remo, but surprisingly he managed to finish 3rd. He also managed to open up his winning account with a win at the Copia-Bartoli stage race, and then the floodgates truly opened as he won the Dwars door Vlaanderen yet again, and then went on to win the Tour of Flanders after winning a sprint in the finale despite a tough duel with Tadej Pogačar. At his first Giro d'Italia, he already showed himself in the Grand Pantenza on stage 1, winning the sprint on the climb ahead of Biniam Girmay in a very grueling finale, taking the Malla Rosa in the process, a jersey he would keep until the end of stage 3, as he finished 2nd on stage 2, the time trial, quite surprisingly. Later, he was also very active in the breaks and was close to the win on stage 10 with aggressive attacks by Intermarché, rose to the challenge. And even in the finish, when Mathieu van der Poel saw that Biniam Girmay was going to be winning the stage, he recognized the historic moment with a thumbs up. The time trial on the final stage was once again a showcase for Mathieu van der Poel and his improved TT skills, where he finished 3rd, and he went to the Tour de France once again that year, but was very fatigued after the Giro d'Italia, so had to abandon. Van der Poel, however, did manage to finish the year winning the GP Wallonia, getting revenge on Biniam Girmay, but for the World Championships he did not finish the race as his sleep was interrupted after an unfortunate incident, shall we say, and it wasn't an incident that any party would have wanted. Thus, us fans were robbed of what could have been for the mighty Dutchman at the World Championships. In the 2023 season, Mathieu van der Poel had a great start to the year by winning his 5th World Championships title at the Cyclocross World Championships in Hoogerheide, beating Wout van Aert once again to win it, and he carried on this momentum into the road season despite a slow start in Strade Bianche, and he was mainly used as a lead-out man for Jasper Philipsen in Tirreno Adriatico. But when it came to Milan-San Remo, his first big target of the year, Mathieu van der Poel attacked on top of the Poggio and managed to forge a gap and solo to the finish to clinch a huge win for his career, and this was his 2nd out of the 5 monuments that he had on his palmares. He would then go on to finish 2nd in both E3 and the Tour of Flanders before at Paris-Roubaix, Mathieu van der Poel won with a 15-kilometer attack from the finish, sharing the podium with his teammate Jasper Philipsen for a historic day for the team. Prior to the Tour de France, he went to the Belgian Tour, and here he managed to win the overall after winning on stage 4 with some consistent riding in the opening stages. This also meant he won the overall of the race. At the Tour de France, he was very active in some breaks, but his main role for the team was being the lead-out man for Jasper Philipsen, and he did so exceptionally well, putting the super sprinter in contention for the win in a number of stages. After the Tour de France, there was one goal on the mind of Mathieu van der Poel, and that was the World Championships in Glasgow, and Mathieu van der Poel did not disappoint as he managed to make the race-winning selection containing Philipsen, Pogačar and Wout, but Mathieu van der Poel proved to be the strongest as he dropped them all with a gigawatt attack and soloed to the finish. But the drama was not over as he had to deal with a crash as well that he sustained, which broke his shoes, but this just added to the prestige of this victory as he managed to still finish well ahead of the pursuing group. In the process, he ended the drought of the Netherlands with no winner in almost 40 years, and he himself became the first rider to win both the World Championships title in the cyclocross and on the road in the same year. Mathieu van der Poel is in the prime of his career and already a legend of the sport with historic achievements and records to his name that will stand the test of time. He's already on his path to potentially get all 5 monuments, with clenching 3 of them already, and maybe more stages in the Tour. But that is basically it for this video. If you haven't already, check out the video where I try and take one of his KOMs as well here on the channel, and make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down in the comments what you think of this great man himself. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you around.